It's no secret that since man had the ability to shape stone and metal starting thousands of years ago, they've also been slashing, stabbing, hitting, and basically wreaking havoc on each other ever since. When did the first knife fight break out? When the second blade was created. Over the centuries, the longer version, swords have become the best option for the battlefield, and many have a fearsome reputation. It wasn't unusual for a design to be created or a current tool altered to maximize the destruction against defenses of the day, like shield or armor. The effectiveness of a sword changed with the times, and was not immune to fashion cues. Different parts of the world had their own take on what was best for the tactics used in their respective countries. But be assured the purpose was the same: to inflict as much damage as possible on your foe. So, on that cheery note, here's some of history's most fearsome swords and cutting blades. Your list may differ, but we can all agree that the edged weapons of history have made their mark. This iconic sword that is remembered throughout history is the Gladia Sword. It is known as the sword used by the Roman legions, and is often portrayed in Hollywood films. This type of sword is a short, double-edged sword with a short, broad, tapered blade. It was used by the Roman infantry between the 2nd century BC to the 3rd century AD. Historically, it is said to have been used most prominently by the Roman legions in their conquests. Its design was meant to effectively respond to the cutting and slashing motions used in combat, and to be a formidable weapon. It has been recorded that the Gladia sword was used even during the famous battles of Cannae during the Punic Wars. The Gladia sword was also used to behead criminals, as recorded by Julius Caesar. To this day, this sword remains a symbol of courage, and is seen as a formidable weapon. This is one of the most famous swords ever used in history, and is remembered by many for its significant role in the Roman army, and for its designs which make it look so unique. Originating from Japan, the katana is perhaps the most iconic sword in the world. Forged with precision and imbued with spiritual significance, it wasn't just a weapon but a symbol of honor and power. The blade's unique curved design allowed for swift and lethal strikes, while its legendary sharpness could effortlessly slice through armor and bone. The katana was more than a mere tool. It was considered the soul of the samurai, representing their code of Bushido, the way of the warrior. As a symbol of honor and greatness, the katana is deeply intertwined with the Japanese warrior, the samurai. It has been admired all over the world with its beautiful, curved, sharp blade for many centuries. The history of the katana originated in ancient feudal Japan, as it served as weapons for the samurai warriors. But this sword was not only a weapon for fighting, but also embodied status and honor. Making a katana is a traditional and long-term process that is steeped in craftsmanship, knowledge, and precision. The Tamahagane steel underwent melting, folding, hammering, and forging that results in several layers of steel. Polishing and sharpening the edge is an art form in itself, with many stones and techniques used to ensure a razor-sharp sword in battle. The appreciation for the Japanese katana extends beyond just its functionality. The Tamahagane steel, quality of forging, techniques, and aesthetics also play an important role. The handle and sheath are often provided with beautiful elements that contribute greatly to the beauty of the sword. As time progressed, the shapes of Japanese swords changed due to the circumstances and methods of warfare. The term katana was first used in the Kamakura period, 1185 to 1333. Initially, the first Japanese swords were straight swords that were a variation on Chinese swords. These precursors of the katana appeared in the Heian period around 700. The samurai mainly used these katanas in feudal Japan, 1185 to 1868. The samurai class was a military one. The samurai warriors were a distinct class of military nobility. The warriors were a prestigious military group in the service of a feudal lord. The rise of the katana has to do with the changing way of war, in which a quick pull of the sword became important to settle the battle. This samurai sword was worn in the belt, or obi, with the sharp edge upwards. This allowed them to draw the sword in one movement and immediately cut the enemy. Katana was carried in numerous historical battles, including the famous battle at Sekigahara in 1600s. Certainly in the Edo period, circumstances changed and the value of the katana became less relevant due to its relevance on the battlefield. Nevertheless, the katana is an important cultural symbol in Japan and a sought-after collector's item around the world. As a sword, the katana transcends its status. It represents strength, beauty, and honor. The symbolism includes craftsmanship, and the pursuit of perfection. Due to its long history in Japan, the katana is intertwined with culture and tradition, developed from the martial art, and now a symbol of functionality and beauty. Many people are fascinated by these beautiful Japanese swords and an intriguing object that connects us to Japan's ancient heritage. The scimitar sword is a lethal weapon with a fascinating history. The earliest versions of the scimitar were likely introduced to the Middle East by Turkic warriors from the Iranian plateau known as Khorasan, which today encompasses parts of Afghanistan, Iran, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and Kazakhstan. These nomadic horsemen understood the complex mechanics of fighting efficiently while at full speed on a galloping horse, and the legendary sword became a battlefield staple of, among other cultures, the Turks, Persians, Mongols, Sikhs, and Rajputs. It's thought to have also been used by the Saracens against the Crusaders in the 11th century and was a popular Ottoman weapon until the advent of gunpowder-based firearms in the 16th century. Although scimitars and other melee weapons remained in use alongside these for quite some time. Indeed, it's occasionally stated that scimitar blades were even used during World War I, but to what extent and by whom is uncertain. The scimitar sword has evolved into various forms across different cultures, each tailored to the specific combat needs and styles of the culture that developed them. Here are some of the most renowned versions of this iconic weapon. Originating from Turkey, the one-handed, single-edged sword features a distinct T-shaped cross-section and a pronounced curve, allowing for powerful cutting strokes. It was a favorite among Ottoman cavalry for its effectiveness in battle, and used by Seljuk, Timurid, and Mamluk warriors from the early Middle Ages. The Indian talwar had a broad, curved blade and an elaborate hilt, often adorned with intricate designs. Its design facilitated both cutting and thrusting motions, making it versatile in combat. It was a potent symbol of India's martial tradition and permeated the nation's art, culture, and folklore. Originating from North Africa, specifically Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia, the nimcha, used from the 15th to the 19th centuries, had a distinctive hilt with a knuckle guard and a slightly curved blade. Many were inscribed with tugra, the seal or signature of the reigning sultan. The Afghan pulwar was similar in style to the Indian talwar, but with a broader blade and a more pronounced curve. It was known for its strength and balance, making it effective in both attacking and defensive maneuvers. It was in widespread use during the 18th and 19th centuries, but its origins can be traced back further. One of the lesser-known types of scimitars, the Eritrean and Ethiopian shotel, has a deeply curved double-edged blade, almost resembling a crescent moon. This design allowed for hooking and slashing attacks, particularly useful against shielded opponents. It may have originated as far back as 700 BC in the damp region of northern Ethiopia. One of the most well-known of all the scimitar swords, the Persian shamshir, was characterized by its deeply curved, slender blade, optimized for slashing attacks. Its lightweight and sharp edge made it a very effective weapon for cavalry use. The first versions of the shamshir may have been in use as early as the 7th or 8th century. Last, but not least, is Excalibur, one of the most famous swords in mythology and literature. According to legend, it was the sword of King Arthur, the legendary king of Britain. The sword has been depicted in countless stories, movies, and TV shows, and has become a symbol of chivalry, bravery, and justice. The origins of Excalibur are shrouded in mystery. In some versions of the legend, it is said to have been given to King Arthur by the Lady of the Lake, a powerful sorceress who lived in a magical realm beneath the waters of a lake. In other versions, it is said to have been embedded in a stone, and only the rightful king of Britain would be able to pull it out. Whatever its origins, Excalibur was said to be an incredibly powerful sword. It was said to be indestructible, and its blade was said to be so sharp that it could cut through anything. It was also said to have magical properties, and was said to glow with a bright light when its owner was in danger. In the legends, Excalibur played a key role in King Arthur's battles against his enemies, including the evil sorceress Morgana Le Fay and the Knights of the Round Table. It was also said to have been instrumental in his final battle against Mordred, his treacherous nephew. Excalibur has become a cultural icon and has been featured in numerous works of literature, film, and other media. It has been depicted as a symbol of power and authority, as well as a symbol of the struggle between good and evil. The sword's enduring popularity is a testament to the enduring appeal of the Arthurian legends and to the power of myth and legend in general. William Wallace was a Scottish knight who lived from 1272 to 1305. Wallace is known for leading a resistance against England during the Wars of Scottish Independence, which were waged during the late 13th and early 14th centuries. During his lifetime, William Wallace was appointed the Guardian of Scotland. He led an infantry of soldiers who engaged the enemy in hand-to-hand combat. The prized possession of many of these soldiers was their sword. In order to survive on the battlefield, one had to be a talented swordsman. In 1305, William Wallace was captured by King Edward I of England and was executed for treason. Today, William Wallace is remembered in Scotland as a patriot and national hero. His sword is one of the most famous in the world. The William Wallace sword is located at the National Monument in Stirling, Scotland. The sword is said to be the weapon that Wallace used at the Battle of Stirling Bridge in 1297 and the Battle of Falkirk in 1298. The pommel on the sword consists of an onion-shaped piece of gilded iron, and the grip is wrapped with dark brown leather. The hilt or handle that is currently on the Wallace sword is not the original. It is believed that the sword has been modified on separate occasions. After the execution of William Wallace, Sir John de Menteith, governor of Dumbarton Castle, received his sword. In 1505, King James IV of Scotland paid the sum of 26 shillings to have the sword bound with cords of silk. It is said that the sword underwent many changes, which might have been necessary because Wallace's original scabbard, hilt and belt were said to have been made from the dried skin of Hugh Cressingham, who was an English commander